So all I'm doing is using an iPad, and the first thing I'm going to show you is inside the app, the Garageband app. I use Garageband a lot on my Mac and a little bit on the iPad. And this is a really cool tool to use for recording, and they've built in a function to where you can loop a track on the recording part. So whatever your looping device does is that you basically have a pedal, you plug your guitar into that pedal, and then you plug that pedal into your amp, whatever you're getting your sound out of. There's usually a switch, and when you tap that switch, you're playing your guitar, you tap the switch, and when you tap it again, it records what you just tapped in between the two things. So tap, it records, tap again, and it stops, and it just loops that over and over. And the cool thing with that, it's almost like having your buddy hanging out with you playing guitar, because you can play the chords and the rhythm parts, let that loop, and then you can really play around with the individual notes and scales. That's a very easy way to explain what's happening with it. You can get really complicated with the looping stuff, because once you loop something, you can loop something on top of that, and then there's something else on top of that. So for the GarageBand app, it's a simple app that you can use to record, I think, up to like 16 tracks. So I'm basically just going to play a simple E7, an A7 chord. So just two chords. I'm going to play that track. I'm going to try and get it right. The one thing with these apps, I will say, where the pedals I think are better, is that you can get the timing better. On these apps, you're pressing buttons and then going to your guitar to play, unless you got someone else to tap the button for you. And sometimes there's a little bit of lag, and it drives me bananas because it's just a tiny little bit. But as you guys know, any kind of change in rhythm in a song is really noticeable. So we'll try to go with the first try, but we might try a couple times. So here we go. Let's do the first track. Okay, let's see how this sounds. I hope you guys can hear that. Like thumbs up or say yes if you can hear the speaker. It's a small guitar amp. Oh, so you hear that little pause? I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not perfect. Okay, good. You can hear it. So, as you can see, no hands, and it just loops whatever you played over and over. Then you can record another track on top of that, or loop another sounds on top of that sound. So it's easier to kind of show you than to tell you. So we're going to add another, we're going to play on top of that loop, okay? That's not going to be perfect either, but you can get the idea. Whoa. Not bad. Let's see how messed up it is at the end here. Yeah, it is. But hopefully you guys can hear how that first track gets played, and then it records it, and then it loops it, and then you can hear, you just put a little bit of a percussion sound in there. If you kind of, slap down your strings on them, bounce off your frets, it's a really cool, easy way to get a snare sound. I do it a lot. Good, some thumbs up so people can hear it. So that is the super basic version of what a looping pedal does. If you have a pedal or a looping app, so you can, I've tried one called Loopy HD. It's pretty good, but again, it's more so for like voice from what I can tell. Getting the guitar part to sync up perfectly is a little bit of a challenge. But you're welcome to check out some apps before you put some money into pedals. So why bother with a looping pedal for all this? I think Bob's question about how can I use a looping pedal or a looping app to help me with my practice is probably the best question. Because what you can do is record. I would recommend recording some chords and a chord progression and some rhythm. Watching from New York, cool. What's up, Walter in New York? Welcome to the membership. The thing you can do with this now is to let it play, and then what I recommend people do is play a chord progression or some rhythm first, let that loop, and then you can use, right now, so that's an E7 and an A7 chord, right? We can use the E minor pentatonic scale on top of that, and it's going to sound good. Have a scale and single notes. You can use a looping station or a looping pedal or a looping app to play on top of that. So what I mean by that is let this play, and then you can practice your scales. And when you have that, I mean, that's just more fun and sounds better than sitting here going, I mean, you're going to have to sit here and do this. And that's the E minor pentatonic scale. But you can, instead of just playing that scale, which is a little boring, you can loop something and then play that on top of it. And you can improvise and practice licks and fills. Let's wait till it loops back around here real quick. That mark bugs me. So that's what I mean by playing on top of something. So you have chords that make up a progression. You put a couple of chords together, just has to be two. You got a chord progression. Then you can use a looping function to play your scales and licks and notes on top of that. And that's like a really good way to practice. You can also use it to kind of practice your percussion. So you play it. I play those chords first, and then you can get used to kind of tapping your foot and striking your strings for a percussion sound. You can also just kind of play the chords over it. It kind of becomes almost hypnotic. So you could really like, I could like fall asleep playing some of this stuff. Vicky's laughing right now because she can hear this all day long. The thing I'm going to tell you to kind of do first, though, is also with the iPad. Well, it doesn't have to be an iPad. It can be an Android or anything on your phone. Most everyone's phone has something called voice recorder or voice recorder apps. You can just find them in whatever, the Android store or the App Store or whatever. So, like this one is very simple to use and very old school looking, which is probably, whoa! Sorry about that. It literally looks like, remember the old tape recorders? I mean, I had one of these as a kid and probably, I used the crap out of it. So this is just an app, voice recording app. And I'm going to show you how you can use this. It's not going to be a loop, but it's really good for practicing. So download the app, or a app, and then record. So I was like, what, 30 seconds that I played there. Just play it back and play over it. Play along with it. Play, you know, you can practice your power chords with it. There's a lot you can do with it. So if you don't have a looping app or a GarageBand or anything fancy, don't worry about it. Just tape yourself. It's actually better too, because then it's always good to hear. It's a little scary, but you should be listening to see what you sound like. And play it back. Whoa. Turn off the effects pedal. If you can hear that. So, I mean, it's not like a perfect science. So I hope you like that lesson. Don't forget to subscribe to the Relax and Learn Guitar YouTube channel. And if you'd like more free lessons like this sent right to your inbox, you can head over to www.relaxandlearnguitar.com. I'll leave the link in the description, and you can sign up there for more free lessons sent right to your inbox.